The council chamber stretched across 3 kilometers of empty space, held together by technology so ancient that no living species remembered who built it. Hundreds of different aliens filled the vast room, their forms ranging from simple and small to massive and complex. They all came from different worlds, spoke different languages, and thought in different ways. But today, they all shared the same feeling: fear. Stood at his position near the central platform, his 4 arms holding the recording device steady. As the official historian for the Galactic Council, he had documented thousands of meetings over his long life. None of them felt like this one. The air itself seemed to vibrate with an energy that made his scales stand on end. The elders had returned. No one knew exactly how old the elders were. Some said they had existed since the first stars formed. Others claimed they were beings from a previous universe. What everyone knew for certain was that the elders had moved beyond physical form millions of years ago. They existed as pure consciousness now, vast minds that could cross the galaxy in an instant. They rarely appeared to the younger species anymore. When they did, entire civilizations paid attention. A light formed in the center of the chamber. It started as a small point, then grew into a sphere of brilliant white energy. The assembled aliens fell silent. Even the most arrogant among them knew better than to speak when the elders manifested. The light pulsed once, twice, and then a voice filled every mind in the chamber. It did not speak in any particular language. Instead, each being heard it in their own way, understood it perfectly in their own thoughts. "We come with a final warning," the voice said. "We depart soon to the next stage of existence. Before we go, we must tell you about a danger that approaches." Prime leaned forward in his seat. The military commander had fought in 17 major wars during his career. He had seen weapons that could destroy planets and diseases that wiped out entire star systems. The word danger from the elders meant something beyond normal understanding. "Speak, Ancient Ones," said, his mandibles clicking with respect. "We listen." The light shifted, showing images that appeared in the air above the platform. A yellow star came into view, unremarkable among billions of others. Orbiting it were several planets. The third one glowed blue and green, covered in water and land. "This world," the elder voice continued, "holds a species unlike any other. They are young, primitive by your standards. They have not yet discovered faster-than-light travel. They have not yet reached beyond their own moon, but mark our words well. They must never be allowed to join the galactic community." Seven, a being made of living crystal, projected her thoughts toward the light. "Why? What makes them dangerous? Do they possess weapons beyond our understanding?" "No," the elders replied. "They are fragile, their bodies break easily, they are short. By all physical measures, they should be insignificant." "Then why warn us?" asked Thorol, a floating gas being from the nebula cluster. The images changed. Now they showed the creatures from the blue world. They stood on 2 legs, had 2 arms, and possessed soft skin with no natural armor. They looked weak, vulnerable. Many of the assembled aliens felt confused. These beings seemed harmless. "They are called humans," the elders said, "and they represent something the galaxy has never encountered. They are adaptation made flesh. They are persistence given form. They are chaos walking." Recorded every word carefully, though he did not understand the warning. The creatures looked so ordinary. "Humans do not accept limits," the elders continued. "Where other species see walls, they see challenges. Where others accept defeat, they try again. Where nature says no, they ask why not. They are emotional, unpredictable, and creative in ways that defy calculation. They will not follow your rules. They will not respect your boundaries. They will not stay in their place." His eyes narrowed. "Then we should destroy them now while they are weak." "No," the elders said, and for the first time the voice carried something that might have been sadness. "That would make you the monsters, not them. They have done nothing wrong. They are simply what they are. But if they reach the stars, everything will change. The order you have built, the stability you cherish, the predictable nature of galactic society, all of it will transform. They will spread like wildfire. They will question everything. They will make friends with species you consider enemies. They will solve problems you thought impossible. And most dangerous of all, they will make others think differently." Seven processed this information through her crystalline matrix. "You speak of change as if it were a plague." "To those who fear it, change is the greatest plague," the elders replied. "We do not tell you what to do, we only warn you. That world, that species, they are different. If they rise to the stars, the galaxy will never be the same. Choose wisely." The light began to fade. "Wait," called out, How long do we have? When will they achieve faster-than-light travel? That depends on you, the elders said, their presence growing weaker. If left alone, perhaps 200 of their years. If you interfere, perhaps longer, perhaps never. The choice is yours. We have spoken our final words to this galaxy. Use them well. The light vanished completely. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Then everyone started talking at once. Voices, sounds, and thoughts filled the air in a dozen different forms of communication. Fear, anger, and confusion mixed together in equal measure. His voice cut through the noise. We vote now, all in favor of establishing quarantine protocols around this world. Hands, tentacles, appendages, and energy fields rose across the chamber. The vote was nearly unanimous. Only a few abstained. No one voted against it. Then it is decided, declared. We establish a quarantine zone around the third planet of this yellow star. No contact, no interference, but also no escape. Any attempt by these humans to achieve faster-than-light travel will be stopped. We will place automated systems around their world. If they try to leave, their technology will fail. They will never know we are here. They will never reach the stars. Seven dimmed her light in thought. Is this wise? We act out of fear of a prophecy. We act out of caution, replied. The elders have never been wrong. If they say these humans are dangerous, then we must take precautions. Saved all the records and prepared to seal them in the archive. Future generations would need to know about this decision. They would need to understand why Earth, as the humans called it, remained isolated from the rest of the galaxy. As the council members departed to implement the quarantine, none of them considered one simple doctor. Gregory stared at the screen showing another failed test. The numbers made no sense. Everything should have worked. The math was perfect. The engineering was sound. But somehow, at the exact moment of faster-than-light activation, the entire system shut down, just like the last 47 attempts. Same result, said from her station across the lab. The engineer pulled up diagnostic reports and shook her head. Power surge at the exact moment of field generation. Everything trips offline. It's like something is actively fighting our system. Gregory rubbed his tired eyes. They had been working on faster-than-light travel for 6 years now. Other teams around the world had tried for even longer. Everyone hit the same wall. The technology should work. By every law of physics they understood it should work, but it never did. Run the analysis again, Gregory said. There has to be a pattern we're missing. Pulled up data from all 48 failed attempts. She ran comparison programs looking for any similarity. Hours passed. Gregory brought coffee, barely noticed. Then she stopped. Her eyes went wide. Greg, come look at this. Gregory hurried to her screen, pointed at a series of graphs. Every failure happens at exactly the same point in the activation sequence, she said. Not approximately the same, exactly the same, down to the nanosecond. Equipment malfunction, Gregory suggested. That's what I thought at first, but look, pulled up more data. Other teams around the world have been sharing their results. They're all hitting the exact same failure point. Different equipment, different designs, different power sources, but the exact same failure timing. Gregory felt his heart beat faster. What are you saying? I'm saying this isn't random. Something is causing these failures, something external. Looked at him. What if someone doesn't want us to achieve faster-than-light travel? The idea seemed crazy, but the data did not lie. Gregory made a decision. We build a completely isolated system. No network connections, no wireless signals. We shield it from every kind of external radiation we can think of. If something is interfering with our tests, we cut it off completely. It took 3 months to build the new facility. They constructed it deep underground, surrounded by layers of metal and concrete. Every component was analog where possible. Digital systems were triple shielded. They called it the day of the test arrived. Gregory stood in the control room with a skeleton crew of 5 other people. Admiral Martinez, chosen to pilot the first faster-than-light ship, waited in the test vessel they had named the USS Horizon. All systems green, reported Commander Hayes from her position. Reactor stable, field generators charging. Gregory watched the numbers climb. His hands shook slightly. This was it. Years of work came down to this moment. Beginning activation sequence, announced. The power levels rose. The field generators hummed to life. They reached the critical point where every other test had failed. Nothing happened. The system kept running. "Field generation in progress," said, her voice rising with excitement. "No interference, no shutdown, it's working." The horizon began to glow with a blue light as the faster-than-light field formed around it. Inside, Admiral Martinez felt the ship respond to his controls. "Engaging drive," Martinez said over the radio. "Initiating jump in 3, 2, 1. The horizon vanished. For a moment, everyone in the control room held their breath. Then the sensors picked up a signal. The ship had jumped exactly 10,000 kilometers away, just as planned. "We did it," Gregory whispered. Then louder, "We did it." The control room erupted in cheers. People hugged each other, some cried. Humanity had finally broken through the barrier. The stars were open. Admiral Martinez brought the horizon back to the facility. "That was the smoothest flight I've ever experienced," he reported. "System performed perfectly, ready for longer jumps." They planned a longer test for the next day, a jump to the edge of the solar system and back. But that night, while everyone celebrated, ancient machines in orbit around Earth came to life. The automated quarantine systems had been in place for 50,000 years. They had degraded over time. Their programming had developed errors, but they still had one function: stop any faster-than-light technology from Earth. The next morning, the Horizon launched for its second test. This time, the jump would take them to Neptune and back. Admiral Martinez had Commander Hayes with him now, along with 3 other crew members: Dr. Foster, the medical officer; Jack, security chief, and who wanted to monitor the drive system in person. "Jump initiated," Martinez announced. The Horizon disappeared from Earth's orbit. The jump calculations were perfect. They should have appeared near Neptune. Instead, they appeared surrounded by 12 alien ships. Martinez stared at them in shock. The vessels were like nothing humanity had ever seen. Some looked like living creatures. Others were geometric shapes that hurt the eyes to look at. One seemed to be made of pure light. "What in the world?" Commander Hayes breathed. "Sir, we're being hailed," reported Jack. "Multiple frequencies, some kind of universal translation system is activating." "Put it through," Martinez said, trying to keep his voice steady. A dozen different voices spoke at once, then merged into one clear message. "Human vessel, you have violated the quarantine zone. You are ordered to shut down all systems and prepare to be boarded." In the control center on Earth, Gregory and his team watched in horror as they lost contact with the Horizon. The ship had jumped away and never returned. "What happened?" someone asked. "Did the drive fail?" "No," said, pulling up the last telemetry they received. "The jump was successful. They went exactly where they were supposed to, but something was waiting for them." Gregory made a call to the United Nations. Within hours, the news spread across Earth. Humanity was not alone, and apparently someone had been keeping them isolated. Aboard the Horizon, Admiral Martinez and his crew were brought to a massive space station. They passed through corridors filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Some walked, some floated, some seemed to phase in and out of reality. A tall, thin alien with skin and large, dark eyes approached them. It spoke, and somehow they understood. "I am Council Prime, or you and your crew are here because you have broken a law that has stood for 50,000 of your years. Your species was placed under quarantine by order of the Galactic Council." "Quarantine?" Martinez said. "We didn't even know you existed. How can we break laws we never heard of?" "Ignorance is not an excuse," Or replied. "The elders warned us about your kind. They said you would be dangerous if you reached the stars. They said you would disrupt everything." Commander Hayes stepped forward. "The elders, who are they, and why would they warn about us? We're just trying to explore space." "That is exactly the problem," Or said. "You try, you persist, you refuse to accept limits. The elders told us what you are: chaos, unpredictability, change." In a chamber high above the docking bay, a young alien scientist named watched the humans through observation screens. He had studied Earth for years, fascinated by the quarantined world. Now, for the first time, he saw real humans in person. They looked so ordinary, fragile even. What about them scared the elders so much? Back on Earth, Dr. Gregory stood before the United Nations. Every nation had sent representatives. Everyone wanted answers. "We made contact," Gregory said, "and we learned that we've been prisoners without knowing it. For 50,000 years, someone has been keeping us trapped on this planet." Why? Asked the Secretary General. They say we're dangerous, Gregory replied. They say ancient beings called the Elder the Galactic Council Chamber had not seen this much activity in centuries. Representatives from 300 different species crowded the space, all talking at once. The humans had been contained, but the question remained. What should be done with them? War Leader X stood at the center platform, his massive form covered in thick armor plating. His species had evolved on a high-gravity world where only the strong survived. He had no patience for debate. The answer is simple, X declared, his voice booming across the chamber. The elders warned us. We ignored the warning and allowed these humans to develop. Now they have broken quarantine. We must act decisively, destroy their faster-than-light capability, destroy their ships, keep them on their planet permanently. Murmurs of agreement rippled through parts of the crowd. Many species feared the unknown. The elder warning had been clear. Humans were dangerous. But Seven, the crystalline being, projected her thoughts outward. We cannot make decisions based on ancient fear. The elders gave a warning, yes, but they did not tell us to commit genocide. They did not tell us to imprison an entire species forever. They told us the humans would change everything, X shot back. Change means chaos. Chaos means death and destruction. Better to stop the problem now. Council Prime or raised his hand for silence. We have captured one human vessel. 5 humans are currently in our custody. Before we make any permanent decision, perhaps we should try to understand what makes them so dangerous. Knowledge before action. I volunteer to study them, a voice called out. Heads turned, stepped forward, his slim form seeming small among the gathered aliens. He was young by council standards, barely 200 years old. Most species did not take anyone under 500 seriously. You, X laughed. What can a child learn that the elders themselves could not explain? The elders never explained, replied calmly. They warned but gave no details. Perhaps if we observe the humans directly, we can understand the nature of the threat. Then we can respond appropriately. Or considered this. Very well, you may interview the human prisoners, but do so quickly. This council will make a decision within 10 standard days. Made his way to the detention area where the human crew waited. The Horizon had been moved to a secure dock, and its crew given quarters that were comfortable but clearly guarded. He approached the door to Admiral Martinez's room and pressed the entry button. Come in, a voice said. Entered, Admiral Martinez sat at a small table, looking tired but alert. He stood as the alien entered. I'm researcher, the alien said. I've been assigned to study your species. Study us? Martinez raised an eyebrow. Like lab rats. No, like people I want to understand. Please sit, I have questions. They sat across from each other, pulled out a recording device. Tell me about yourself, said. Not about humans in general, about you specifically. Who are you? Martinez seemed surprised by the question. I'm a pilot. Well, an admiral now, but I started as a pilot. I've been flying since I was 16. Joined the military at 18. Worked my way up through the ranks. When they needed someone for the first faster-than-light test flight, I volunteered. Why? Why what? Why did you volunteer? You knew it was dangerous. Your species has never traveled faster than light before. You could have died. Martinez smiled slightly. That's exactly why I volunteered, because it was dangerous, because it was new, because someone had to be first and I wanted it to be me. Recorded this carefully. You wanted to risk death for glory. Not for glory, for the experience, for the chance to see something no human had ever seen before. Martinez leaned forward. Do you know what it's like to look up at the stars your whole life, knowing they're out there, knowing there's an entire universe waiting and being stuck on one small planet? It's like being in a cage. When we finally broke through that barrier, it felt like we could breathe for the first time. But you didn't know the barrier was artificial. You thought it was natural limitation. Does it matter? Martinez asked. Natural or artificial, a cage is still a cage. Humans don't do well in cages. Moved to the next room, where Dr. Foster was reviewing medical data on a borrowed tablet. She looked up as he entered. Let me guess, she said. You're here to figure out why we're so scary. Something like that, admitted. Tell me about your role on the ship. I'm the medical officer. I keep the crew healthy, treat injuries, monitor vital signs during faster-than-light jumps to make sure the stress doesn't damage human biology. And before you joined the mission. Set down the tablet. I worked at a hospital in New York, trauma center. We got all kinds of cases. Accidents, violence, disease. I saw a lot of people die. I saved more than I lost, but the ones I lost stayed with me. Why become a doctor if death affects you so much? Because death affecting me means I care. The day I stop caring about losing patients is the day I should quit. Look directly at him. What does your medical system do when someone is dying and you can't save them? We make them comfortable. We accept the inevitable. We fight even when the odds are impossible. Even when everyone says there's no hope. We fight until the very end because every second of life matters. Interviewed the other crew members over the next several days. Jack told him about human humor, about how humans use jokes to deal with stress and fear. Commander Hayes explained human diplomatic principles, about how they believed different viewpoints made groups stronger, not weaker. Talked about engineering, about how humans saw every problem as a puzzle to solve rather than an obstacle to accept. Each conversation left more confused. These humans seemed kind, thoughtful, they cared about each other, they valued life, they appreciated beauty. Where was the danger? On the seventh day, he returned to Admiral Martinez with his confusion. I don't understand, admitted. The elders said you would change everything, that you were chaos and unpredictability. But I see people who care, who try hard, who want to explore and learn. I don't see monsters. Martinez was quiet for a moment. Can I tell you something? When we first saw your ships, when we realized we weren't alone in the universe, do you know what our first reaction was? Fear, excitement, hope. We finally had proof that we weren't the only life in existence. Even though you immediately threatened us, even though you told us we'd been prisoners for 50,000 years, most humans back on Earth are thrilled. Because it means we have neighbors. It means we can learn from you. It means the universe is bigger and more interesting than we imagined. That's exactly what frightens the Council, said quietly. You don't respond to threats the way you should. You don't accept boundaries. You see imprisonment and think about breaking free. You see danger and get excited. Is that so wrong? It is to species that value stability above all else. The galaxy has been at peace for a very long time. We have rules, systems. Everyone knows their place. Everyone stays in their designated regions. Everything is predictable. Everything is boring, Martinez said. Everything is stagnant. You've achieved peace by stopping growth. Felt something click in his mind. The elders didn't warn us that you would destroy the galaxy. They warned us that you would transform it. They warned us that we would never be the same. Is that really so terrible? Before could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed. An announcement echoed through every corridor. Emergency in the Outer Rim territories. Deadly pathogens spreading through multiple colonies. All medical personnel report immediately. All available ships redirect to affected systems. And Martinez rushed to the window. In the distance, they could see ships launching from the station, racing toward some distant crisis. What's happening? Martinez demanded. I don't know, but it sounds bad. Turned to leave, then stopped. Your Dr. Foster, she specializes in what kind of medicine? Infectious diseases and trauma. Why? Because I think your crew might be useful after all, whether the Council likes it or not. Ran toward the Council chambers, leaving Admiral Martinez alone with a growing sense that everything the Outer Rim colony of Ara-7 had been a peaceful mining outpost for 3 centuries. Now it was dying. The pathogen had appeared without warning, spreading through multiple species simultaneously. What made it truly terrifying was its adaptability. It affected beings with completely different biologies. Methane breathers and oxygen breathers both fell sick. Carbon-based and silicon-based life forms both showed symptoms. Dr. Eth stood in the medical center, surrounded by the dying. His 4 arms moved quickly between patients, but nothing worked. Every treatment failed. Every medicine had no effect. He had been a doctor for 400 years, and he had never felt so helpless. The door opened. Council Prime entered, followed by 5 humans in borrowed environment suits. What is the meaning of this? Eth demanded. This is a quarantine zone, no unauthorized personnel. These are the humans from the captured vessel, Orr said. Researcher has convinced me they might be able to help. Humans, the primitives who just discovered faster-than-light travel. Eth's anger flared. Thousands are dying, and you bring me children who barely understand their own medicine, let alone xenobiology. Dr. Foster stepped forward and removed her helmet. I understand you're stressed and scared, but we're here to help if we can. At least let me look at the data. Why would I trust you with sensitive medical information? Because people are dying and pride won't save them, said simply. Please. Ed stared at her for a long moment, then gestured to a medical terminal. Fine, but don't waste my time. Pulled up the patient records. Admiral Martinez, Commander Hayes, Jack, and stood nearby, ready to help however they could. The data was extensive, hundreds of cases across multiple species. Symptoms varied, but the progression was similar. Fever, organ failure, neurological damage, death. Treatment attempts had all failed. The pathogen seemed to mutate faster than medicines could adapt. This isn't natural, said after an hour of study. The mutation rate is too high, too perfect. It's almost like the pathogen is learning from each treatment attempt. We reached the same conclusion, Eth said, but knowing what it is doesn't help us stop it. Show me the actual pathogen samples. Eth brought up microscope images. The pathogen looked different in each species, but noticed something. A small protein structure that appeared in every sample, regardless of the host. There, she pointed. That's the core. Everything else is adaptive camouflage, but that structure is constant. If we target that specific protein, the pathogen can't hide. We tried that, Eth said tiredly. We designed an agent to attack that protein. It didn't work. What delivery method did you use? Standard injection therapy. Why? Turn 2. Could you build a targeted delivery system? Something that could carry medicine directly to infected cells. Looked at the available equipment. I'd need to modify some of this machinery, but yes, it would be crude but functional. We don't have time for experimental procedures, Eth protested. You don't have time to keep doing what isn't working, shot back. Give me one patient, let me try. If it fails, you've lost nothing. If it works, you save everyone. Eth looked at the rows of dying patients. He had no better options. One patient, you have 4 hours. And work together. Modified medical equipment combining alien technology with human engineering principles. The result was rough, but it would work. Prepared the medicine, targeting it specifically at the unchanging protein structure she had identified. Their test patient was a young alien named Al, barely 20 years old in her species. She was hours from death. Multiple organs were failing. Traditional medicine had given up on her. Administered the treatment. For the first hour, nothing happened. Ed watched from across the room, certain it would fail like everything else. Then Al's vital signs stabilized. The fever began to drop. Organ function improved. Ed rushed to the bedside. How is this possible? Human medical philosophy, explained. We don't just treat symptoms. We find the root cause and attack it directly. Your medicine tried to kill the pathogen through standard means. We bypassed its defenses entirely. We need to replicate this for every patient, every species. That will take days, maybe weeks. Then we better get started, said. Admiral Martinez approached, our crew can help coordinate. Jack can organize supplies. Commander Hayes can manage communication between medical teams, can teach your engineers to build more delivery systems. Or hesitated. The Council had ordered the humans contained. Using them to solve the crisis went against protocol, but protocol didn't save lives. Do it, or said. Over the next 4 days, the human crew worked alongside alien medical teams. Dr. Foster moved between patients, adapting her treatment for each different species. What worked for carbon-based life needed modification for silicon-based life, but the core principle remained the same. Find the unchanging element, attack it directly. Taught alien engineers her improvised delivery system. At first, they were skeptical of her methods. She used parts in ways they were never designed for. She combined technologies that were never meant to work together. But it worked, and that was what mattered. Jack kept spirits up. He told jokes that the translation software struggled with but somehow still made people laugh. He brought food to exhausted doctors. He sat with dying patients so they wouldn't be alone. Commander Hayes coordinated between the 50 different medical teams spread across the affected colonies. She organized supply lines, tracked treatment success rates, and made sure resources went where they were needed most. Dr. Eth worked beside Foster for 3 days straight without sleep. On the 4th day, as they saved their 500th patient together, he finally spoke the question that had been troubling him. Why do you care so much? These are not your people. Many of them belong to species that want to keep your kind imprisoned. Yet you work yourself to exhaustion to save them. Looked at the patients they had just treated. Some were recovering, others still fought for their lives. All of them were someone's family member, someone's friend. Because they're alive, said. That's enough. Life matters, all life. Human alien doesn't make a difference. When someone is dying and I can help, I have to try, not for glory, not for gratitude, because it's the right thing to do. Eth was quiet for a long moment. I have been a doctor for 400 of your years. I have dedicated my life to healing, but I have never heard anyone express it quite like that. It's a very human way of thinking, said with a small smile. Perhaps that is exactly what the elders feared, Eth said. Your kind doesn't calculate cost versus benefit. You don't consider political consequences. You see someone in need and you help. That must seem terribly chaotic to beings who have optimized everything for maximum efficiency. Is that really so bad? No, Eth said slowly, realization dawning. Perhaps it is exactly what we needed. By the end of the 7th day, the crisis was contained. The pathogen had been stopped. Thousands of lives had been saved. The outer rim colonies began to recover. Compiled his report for the council. He included testimony from Dr. Eth, treatment records showing the human contribution, and statements from grateful colonists. Council Prime or read the report in his private chambers. War Leader X would be furious. He would argue this proved nothing, but or knew better. The humans had been given one chance to prove themselves. They had done so spectacularly. More importantly, they had shown what the elders actually meant by their warning. Humans didn't follow rules. They broke them when rules got in the way of saving lives. They didn't accept impossible situations. They created solutions no one else would have considered. They didn't optimize for efficiency. They optimized for compassion. The galaxy had spent 50,000 years building perfect order, perfect efficiency, perfect predictability. The humans represented imperfect chaos, but sometimes chaos was exactly what saved lives. Or prepared for the council session. In 2 days, they would vote on humanity's fate. The vote was supposed to be a formality. Everyone expected the quarantine to continue. But now, or wasn't so sure. The galaxy was about to make a choice. Stay in their safe, predictable comfort, or embrace something new and frightening and impossibly hopeful. He looked out his window at the human ship, still docked at the station. Inside, 5 humans probably wondered if they would ever see their home again. Or made his decision. He would give them a chance to speak at the council session. The Galactic Council chamber was full to capacity. Every species had sent representatives. Word of the human involvement in the Outer Rim crisis had spread across the galaxy. Some viewed it as proof that humans could be valuable allies. Others saw it as confirmation that humans were disruptive and dangerous. Today's vote would determine humanity's future. War Leader X stood at the central platform, his voice carrying across the vast space. I acknowledge that the humans helped during the medical crisis, but this does not change the fundamental truth. The elders warned us about them. They said humans would transform everything. Is transformation what we want? Or do we value the stability we have built over millions of years? Murmurs of agreement rippled through parts of the assembly. Change was frightening. The known was safe. Look at what happened, X continued. The humans were here for 7 days. In that time, they ignored our medical protocols. They modified equipment against regulations. They combined technologies in ways that violated safety standards. Yes, they saved lives, but they did so by breaking every rule we have established. Is this the kind of influence we want spreading through our galaxy? Seven projected her thoughts outward. You speak of broken rules as if rules are more important than lives. The protocols exist to serve us, not the other way around. When protocols fail, should we die rather than try something new? We have procedures for updating protocols, X replied. Proper channels, testing, approval processes, the humans bypassed all of it. Because people were dying and there was no time, spoke up. War Leader, you value strength. Is it not strength to act decisively when action is needed? Before X could respond, Council Prime or raised his hand for silence. Before we vote, I have invited Admiral Martinez to speak. He will address the Council on behalf of his species. This announcement caused immediate reaction. Some species objected loudly. Others leaned forward with interest. Allowing a human to speak directly to the Council was unprecedented. Admiral Martinez walked to the platform. He wore his military uniform, looking small and fragile compared to many of the aliens around him. But his voice was steady and clear. "Thank you for this opportunity," he began. "I know many of you are afraid of what my species represents. I understand why. The elders warned you. Ancient beings with wisdom beyond measure told you to fear us. Who am I to argue with that?" He paused, looking around the chamber. "But I can tell you who we actually are. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We argue among ourselves. We often disagree on the best path forward. But we have one quality that seems to frighten you more than anything else. We refuse to accept that things cannot change." "That is exactly the problem," shouted a voice from the assembly. "Is it?" Martinez asked. "Dr. Eth, you are here today. Please stand." The alien doctor rose from his seat, looking uncomfortable with the attention. "Dr. Eth," Martinez said, "before my medical officer arrived at the colony, how many patients had you saved from the pathogen?" "None," Eth admitted. "Every patient died." "After Dr. Foster introduced her treatment method, how many did you save?" "Thousands." "Did you use standard protocols?" Eth hesitated. "No, we used improvised methods, untested combinations. We violated numerous safety regulations." "And if you had followed proper procedures, how long would it have taken to develop an approved treatment?" "Months, perhaps years. By then everyone would have been dead." Martinez turned back to the assembly. "That is what humans bring to the galaxy, not chaos for its own sake, not destruction, but the willingness to break rules when rules cost lives, the courage to try impossible things when the possible isn't enough, the stubbornness to refuse defeat even when everyone says defeat is inevitable." "You speak of courage and stubbornness as virtues," X said, "but they can also be recklessness and foolishness." "You're absolutely right," Martinez agreed. "Sometimes human stubbornness leads to disaster. Sometimes our refusal to accept limits gets us killed. We are not claiming to be perfect or superior. We're just asking to be allowed to exist, to explore, to be part of this galactic community." "Stood, if I may speak, I spent days interviewing the human crew. I studied their history, their culture, their values. What I found surprised me. The elders said humans would change everything. I believe they were not giving a warning of destruction. They were giving a warning of transformation." "There is no difference," X growled. "There is every difference. Destruction ends things. Transformation creates something new. The galaxy has been essentially unchanged for millions of years. We have achieved peace through rigid structure. Everyone stays in their place. Everyone follows the rules. It is stable. It is safe. It is also stagnant." Pulled up images from the Outer Rim crisis. "Look at these records. Human and alien doctors working together, combining their knowledge. Human engineers teaching our people improvisation. Species that have barely spoken to each other for centuries cooperating to save lives. In 7 days, the humans created more cross-species collaboration than we have seen in generations." "Because there was a crisis," someone argued. "Exactly," said. "It took a crisis to make us work together. It took humans breaking our rules to show us we could do things differently. What if that is what the elders actually meant? Not that humans would destroy us, but that they would force us to grow." The chamber erupted in argument. Species shouted their opinions. Some supported immediate integration of humanity. Others demanded the quarantine continue. A few still called for humanity's destruction. Or let them argue for several minutes, then called for silence. "We vote. 3 options. First, maintain quarantine. Humanity remains isolated on Earth. Second, limited contact. Humans may trade and communicate, but expansion is restricted. Third, full integration. Humanity joins the Galactic Council as equal members." The vote was close. Many species chose continued quarantine out of fear. Others selected limited contact as a compromise, but a surprising number voted for full integration. When the final count was completed, or announced the result, by a margin of 8%, the Council has voted for full integration. The quarantine is lifted. Humanity is welcome to the galactic community. The chamber exploded in noise. Some species celebrated, others protested loudly. X stormed out, refusing to accept the decision. Admiral Martinez stood in the center of the chaos, hardly believing what he had heard. They were free. Humanity was free. Approached him. "Congratulations, though I suspect you have just become one of the most important humans in history. You will need to return to Earth and help prepare your people for integration. It will not be easy. Many species still fear you. We'll work on that, Martinez said. Humans are good at winning people over, eventually. 1 year later, stood before the council giving his integration report. The changes had been dramatic. Human doctors now worked in hospitals across 100 worlds, bringing their aggressive treatment philosophies and saving patients others had given up on. Human engineers collaborated with alien designers, creating hybrid technologies neither species could have achieved alone. Human explorers pushed into regions of space that had been considered too dangerous or too difficult for. Some species adapted well to human presence. Others struggled with the constant change humans brought. A few still called for the integration to be reversed. The most significant impact, reported, has been philosophical. Humans ask questions we stopped asking long ago. Why do we do things this way? What if we tried something different? Is there a better approach? These questions make some species uncomfortable, but they have also sparked innovation we have not seen in millions of years. Council Prime or nodded slowly. The elders were correct. The galaxy has changed. It will never be the same. Do you regret the decision to integrate them? Asked a council member. No, or said firmly. We were stagnant. We had achieved peace by stopping growth. Humans remind us that growth requires risk, progress requires change, life requires adaptation. These are uncomfortable truths, but they are truths nonetheless. On Earth, Dr. Gregory prepared another ship for launch. The USS Horizon had been the first. Now humanity had 17 ships exploring the galaxy. More were being built every month. Now chief engineer of the human-alien hybrid ship Pathfinder called down from orbit. How many more do you want to send up, Greg? As many as we can build, Gregory replied. We have 50,000 years of exploration to catch up on. In a medical center on a distant world, Dr. Foster trained a group of young alien doctors in trauma care. The most important thing to remember, she told them, is that you never give up, even when the situation seems hopeless, even when everyone says there's nothing more you can do. You fight for every patient every time. Admiral Martinez, now officially Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, attended diplomatic meetings and explained human positions on various issues. It was exhausting work. Every species had different customs, different values, different ways of thinking. But slowly, carefully, humans and aliens were learning to work together. Deep in space, in a dimension beyond normal reality, an elder consciousness observed the changes spreading through the galaxy. The humans had indeed transformed everything, exactly as predicted. But the transformation was not destruction, it was renewal. The galaxy had been dying slowly, collapsing under the weight of its own perfect order. Humans brought chaos, yes, but also creativity, also passion, also the stubborn refusal to accept that things could not be better. The elder had watched countless civilizations rise and fall over billions of years. Most fell to war or disease or entropy, but some died more quietly. They achieved stability, eliminated conflict, perfected their systems. Then they stopped growing, stopped changing, stopped truly living. The galaxy had been heading down that path, until 5 humans in a small ship broke through a 50,000-year-old quarantine and reminded everyone that stability without growth was just another form of death. The elder was pleased. The warning had served its purpose, not to keep humans away, but to make their arrival meaningful, to force the galaxy to make a conscious choice between comfortable stagnation and frightening growth. They had chosen growth, slowly, reluctantly, but they had chosen it. And so the galaxy lived on, changed forever, evolving once again. All because 5 humans refused to accept that they should stay in their cage. The elders had cautioned the stars, but humanity rose anyway, and in rising they lifted the entire galaxy with them. Then let everyone vote, not based on ancient fear, but on what they had seen with their own eyes. The elders' warning had been clear. The humans would change everything. Or suspected they already had. As about to change once again. S warned them about us. They say if we reach the stars, everything will change. Then that's exactly what we'll do, said the American president. Prepare every ship we have. If they want to keep us contained, they're about to learn that humans don't respond well to cages. In orbit, the automated quarantine systems continued to degrade. They had stopped one ship, but they were failing. Soon, they would not be able to stop anything. The galaxy had 50,000 years to prepare for humanity. They thought it would be enough. They were about to learn it was not even close. Fact, the elders had said humans were persistent. They had said humans did not accept limits. They had said humans would not stay in their place. But the council thought walls and barriers would be enough. They thought automated systems could hold back a species they had never met. 50,000 years later, they would learn how wrong they were.